Welcome to the second session of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, a dark fantasy and blood fantasy open world merchant game using modified 5th edition D&D rules. I am your games master and dungeon master for this evening, Morgan.
I'm Ian, and I'm playing Junaluska, the elf.
I'm Jay, and I'm playing Angus MacLeod. Or Cloud.
Still trying to figure out those pronunciations.
Yeah.
I'm Kevin, playing Kloss.
We last left our adventurers taking a boat back from the grave island of Junaluska and find them in the bustling market town during the spring fair.
It is very unfortunate that we were not able to go raid that dungeon. I had very big shares in that. But as a wizard, you probably have many tasks you have to do nowadays, and it could be very valuable having a very friendly duck man who knows the ways around the plains, who can find food for you, build bonfire, find firewood for that bonfire. See a great business opportunity here. Me help you out, you help me out a little bit.
And I tag along.
Yes. Why exactly did you need to talk to my wizard again?
Well, we can't really discuss that here.
Okay.
On the harbor? This is good.
On that note, the players realize that they've been up and about for quite a few hours now. The sun is not full in the sky, but it certainly hangs high, and their stomachs are empty.
Better. Just clarify one last thing. We're gonna get rained on or anything like that?
No, it's sunny.
Alright, just getting my bearings.
Sunny spring day, nice cool breeze down from the mountains and across the water.
Which means we have a couple of, we have time. How far? Is it 20 miles? It's more.
The distance, the distance to the town that you are going to deliver the letter that you were given last session is roughly 20 miles. Each mile is about, 20 minutes, I think?
Yeah. 20 miles.
Given an average day of 8 hours, who you woke up in the morning and left with the sun, you would be able to travel 3 miles an hour, 3 times 8 being 24 miles. So you won't be able to make it there in a day unless you rush.
Yeah, and we're too late now. Which means leave tomorrow, which means today is buying day.
If you had to guess, you would say it's probably about 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30.
How long is this bustling market supposed to last? You said it was some type of festival type
Yes,
of idea?
there are 2 festivals in the town of Junaluska. One is in the spring with the snow melt. Shortly afterwards, many of the various merchants within the Markgraf shop travel either south or north into town to trade goods, meet up with people, form caravans, and then go the opposite direction they came from. That is to say, the people from the south go north, people from the north go south. That happens again in the fall, after the harvest, and the fair lasts usually for a few weeks. The fair's been on for maybe a week and a half, so you can expect it to end in about 10 or 12 days if you don't know exactly when you are.
That's fine. I just didn't want it ending tomorrow.
You are also aware that there is to be a tournament on in a few days in town, which there are a number of knights and men-at-arms, sort of armored, more skilled mercenaries eager to attend.
I'm assuming they're setting that up somewhere, and it's a night tourney type of idea?
There is a joust, but there is also a general melee and various archery competitions, including crossbow and bow. Muskets and slings are not being tried.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Both very expensive.
Especially muskets.
The town of Junaluska, you two didn't see this on your way in from the north, but along its eastern side has a permanent tourney ground, which is used heavily by the Grafin, the lady of the town.
Alright, that actually opens up a couple of nice options. You two wanted to tag along. It's fine. I don't care. You can sleep in the stables, just don't piss off my donkey again.
Oh, I would never think to do that.
Yes, no, he was perfectly fine this morning.
Wait, did you bother the donkey? I didn't bother the donkey.
No, I just said hi, gave him a little bit of food.
Weird elf stuff, huh?
He bought it. He broke the one rule. In the meantime, yeah, we should probably really go grab something to eat. Can we get out of the town into the outside market and back in, or do we have to page?
You would have to pay each time. The outside market is just a way for non-humans and poorer merchants to sell their goods. without having to pay the admittedly small head tax. The fact that the town gets so crowded, you guys are all being jostled by even just the morning crowds within the city, is another reason why people prefer to set up outside. You don't have to compete as much for space.
Food, then we're taking out the southern goods area inside the city because I don't want to pay. Sounds like a plan.
Of course, you're the boss.
Alright, then I'll place that makes good soup on the southern end of town. Let's head that way.
Oh, I still have some rations, it's all good. But I'll tag along. I'm running low though, we'll have to get out to the plains soon.
Do some hunting?
Yes, bug hunting. And actual hunting. And fishing. Many things.
I'll probably need to find some food while we're in town. Save up some rations.
It's not that far of a trip. It's a day.
Day and a half.
Day there, day back type of deal.
As you make your way through the crowded streets, two of you certainly get many stares from the audience, from the crowd even. You are attracting an audience, certainly. So that statement is not false. There are other elves, but most of them don't dress as roughly as you do. The fact that you have stone-chipped weapons is certainly commented on by people under their breath, as is the sort of bowing the eyebrow fierceness of your appearance.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm definitely not a high elf.
That's for sure, yeah. They are used to seeing elves dressed more elaborately, outlandishly, colorfully, and in clothes that are more in tune with the sort of human majority. But you walk through the streets towards this soup kitchen that you've heard of, that's fine, and walk out into sort of one of the 2 or 3 courtyards in the town, which this soup kitchen opens to, and notice near the center of the crowd, there are 2 groups of men standing and talking with each other. The only reason you point them out from the rest of the crowd is the fact that they are all armed. One of them, a 30-year-old man with a shaggy beard and similar hair about 3 inches long, 2 or 3 inches, except for the very front, which hangs down a large tuft of a monk. Normally, their entire head would be shaved, but he seems to have been growing his hair out for a few weeks at least, is eagerly and excitedly, almost manically, discussing something with one of 3 men, all dressed in sort of rough leathers, over top of which they wear shiny, glossy, gray wolf skins.
So these don't look like the average guard, then?
They are certainly not wearing the blue and white heraldry uniforms of the guards of Seagood's Croft. The lead figure is wearing a Greek hunting cap with a black feather in it. The 2 people behind him, one of them is a wild elf, or a wood elf, who would see from the tattoos they have on their face.
Let's go ahead and try and identify what these 2 groups are.
2 groups of armed people. I think it's a safe assumption from the animal skins and the equipment that the men in sort of green, worn leather, sort of general dirty clothing are wearing, that they are hunters or rangers or some kind of, maybe a scout mercenary of some kind. The other 2 men, one of whom seems to have perhaps been a monk in his past life, is sort of dressed in under armor, that is to say padded clothing that could be used under chain, while his companion is wearing sort of a loose tunic with a heavy studded kidney belt around his waist. And both are, or at least that one is his companion, who's a tall, towering man, with 6'2", 6 feet 2 inches, has a long cleaver or messer hanging from his belt. They aren't wearing any kind of uniform like the 3 rangers, in quotation marks, are.
And no groups. No local rumors about
Right,
people like
you have
this.
local history.
Yeah.
So you can identify the man with the black feather as Kurtz Blackfeather. He leads a quote-unquote wolf gang, which is a sort of scout mercenary group which operates in the northern frontier and is known to operate in Seagood's Votch as well, and Griffin's Nest to the north, along the borderland with the Northern Wall. But they don't only work on the borderlands, they also work in and around Holenhof in the north.
And the other group.
You can't identify them, no. They seem to be new, or from foreign parts.
Is this grouping attracting a crowd?
Not particularly. If anything, people are avoiding them. The way the monk talks is incredibly animated with swinging arms, while the Kurtz, the man with the black feather, sort of staring at him hawkishly, nodding his head every now and then, or shaking his head, making 2 or 3 word comments in response to this monk's tirades?
This courtyard, is it just foot traffic only type of thing? Are there benches to stop by? Or?
There aren't benches, but there are a number of stands that have been set up selling food or trinkets throughout as part of the market. There are people wandering around, pushing you, making it difficult for you to stand and watch easily.
In that case, I'm going to indicate where the soup shop is if you guys want to go in and get seated. I'm going to meander through these market stalls for a little bit and get a little closer and try and eavesdrop on that conversation without just standing there like a dumbass.
Are you sure that's safe? These men seem...
There's a lot of people in this market. I'll be fine.
It's a lot safer than us trying to do it. We kind of stand out.
Yes.
I kind of stand out. A little bit.
I've been getting some weird stares as well.
Yes, I think that's because you have stone stuff. Very strange. Steel is much better. A lot more reliable.
Doesn't have that same connection.
Connection to what?
To the world. To the spirit. To light. It doesn't have that same thriving energy within it.
How is a rock different than than iron ore or steel or anything like that with a connection?
Touch this.
Touch it.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that thriving?
I feel a stone. It's a bit cold.
Yes, well, I guess you're not as in touch with these kinds of things.
Yeah, I get that. Okay. I enter the soup shop.
Yeah, that's great.
Water.
Beautiful. I like it. You manage to finagle your way through the crowds, looping down and then back as they talk. Every now and then you glance across the courtyard over the heads of various people to try and get eyes on the situation. And you can see the monk is sort of calming down and smiling, and the ranger, the Blackfeather, is nodding more and more. By the time you start overhearing them, they're discussing a price for something.
I mean, I'm going to stick around until they disperse at that point, trying to get as much out of that information as we can.
Sure, I can sort of spontaneously make a conversation you over here if you want.
Sure.
10 good men, all hard rangers, survivors. It will cost a pretty penny. Yes, of course it will, of course. And I am more than happy to pay it. Think, we will have eyes on the city. Eyes on the city. With that, the Crusader army will pay anything for us. You understand? Yes, that's why I agree with you. So, we can name the price then, no? I would like to know the price you would pay for my men now. Well, you know I have 20 men. All of them are more than happy to lay their lives down in protection of your soldiers, your scouts. We are not wealthy men. You know that I have cobbled these men together in the past few months. They are all survivors of the siege, eager to get their funds back, but maybe if you give me a few days, I could gather together some coin for you, a gold piece ahead for the traffic, and then we will talk more once we have the information. To which the Blackfeather responds, a gold piece each now, and another one guaranteed, whether we find the town or not later. Yeah? To which the monk grins and grabs the Blackfeather by the shoulders and nods happily, and bids him a good day before making his way past you in the crowd. When you see him past you, you get a good look at his face for the first time. He's grinning broadly. He has a youthful look to his face, though it is sort of worn and haggard, with a rough life, it would seem. But what strikes you most of all is his eyes. They're deep set and blue, but not blue like the sky. They're blue like fire. There's some sort of burning passion within him, which seems to have been kindled, if anything, by the conversation he's just had. The crowds of people spot him, or perhaps spot the quite large bruiser following behind him, and dance out of his way as he makes his way through the courtyard and into the city beyond.
Alright. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm gonna just join up with the rest of them at this point. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure. You arrive into the kitchen. There are a number of large tables sort of spanning the entire hallway, where numerous people are sitting and eating together. 3 people on one part of the table, 2 on another part. It continues down with more and more chairs further on. There aren't single tables here. and you can very easily and quickly, and I assume you do very easily and quickly, sort of sit up in your own spot. How secluded of a table do you want? Or section
As
do you want?
possible.
As secluded as possible.
So we don't get kicked out by
Alright.
the humans.
So the two of you settle down in a corner, making sure that you have eyes on the doors of the place.
Yes,
Well,
always
you
need
do.
to know where the closest exit is.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's two entrances in the back where people are going in and out of the kitchen, and the one single door that you came into. The windows to the street, of which there are about 4, 2 on each side of the doorway, are large and open, with little flower beds outside of them.
So we can always get out that
You
way
could
if need be.
Easily get through them, yes.
Not expecting trouble.
They are not glass windows, they are open with shutters. Could be closed, but aren't. You see your companion, Klaus, enter the room and begin scanning for you. You want to call out to him?
I'll shake my hand in the air. Over here!
I miss you until you say over here. Make my way over and go, geez, could you find a darker corner? And
No.
sit down. Got the nice flower beds outside and everything. Anyhow.
Well, did you learn anything from that conversation?
Not really. I'm not sure who the monk was. He seems to be hiring Blackfeather and his crew for some type of scouting mission. Keeping eyes on a town. He said it would make him money through one of the crusades. So originally I thought that was probably Olenoff, but it doesn't make sense at the same time because they mentioned the town not knowing where it was. It's a little confusing, at least from my perspective.
That elf you saw, he was wearing leather armor, yes?
Yes.
Yes, he's turned his back from his tribe. We would never wear the skins of animals.
It might be any other tribe.
Hmm.
I didn't think you were the only elves in the world.
It's pretty common
Yes, you are.
among wild elves.
I just wanted to add that he was also carrying steel weapons with him. The Blackfeather was equipped with a rapier, which is an elven weapon. Well, it's derivative of an elven weapon. The elf was armed with a messer, a hatchet, and a copper elven sword.
Definitely an elf that's turned to human life.
Yes. A smart elf, some might say.
It is a way to get coin, I guess.
Well, hopefully we can avoid those men. I don't really want to encounter armed semi-bandits on the road.
It sounded like they were setting up some type of area where they were watching something, which wouldn't be bad if we could figure out where it was and supply them. But there's money that could be made there if we wanted to try for it, but it's more I'm going to keep my ears open on the road to see where they end up. Because I can't even identify who the blue-eyed guy was.
Well, now that you mention it, I was thinking, as a wizard you have to do a lot of traveling around, going from town to town, doing tasks and things like that. And I see many people with their caravans, they bring goods, they sell. It's a very good way to make a living. Well, it's a way to make a living, maybe not necessarily a good way to make a living. And if you are traveling, you might as well bring some baubles, maybe say they're magical, sell them to the townsfolk, make a little bit of money.
That's what humans like. They like baubles.
Magical baubles. Very important that it's magical.
There's just the look of shock on my face. You guys really don't know what Inquisitors like to do to mages, do you?
Well,
I'm gonna not fake magical
Okay.
baubles if that's
we won't say they're magical, they're just baubles.
You all notice that some of the sort of festival goers who are sitting at the table just down from you are beginning to shuffle seats further away. Otherwise, the mood in the place is still quite festive.
Magic's not
Yes,
something that they like just passing around.
maybe not the best. You're right. And, I'm quite skilled as a hunter. If we travel around, I could pick up pelts, we could sell those too.
That might be lucrative enough. Mainly, I've got to head north. I've got to head north to Hethcrus, which is my next destination. The plan is to bring Ethel and the cart out by the southern market, pick up as much as I can outside because they're going to tax the hell out of me if I try and buy from the inside and go out. Throw that all in, go up north, sell it off along the way, pick up some stuff and bring it back to sell it back on the trip. If you guys need anything for that, we should prepare. We passed through 4 towns, and at this point I'm going to ask the DM to give me any more info I can on those towns, and if you need me to make rolls.
Sure, starting with the most southern one.
Yeah, I'm working my way up.
Okay. The first village on the route is the town of Hohenfeld, led by the Vetter Theo Gustav Geron. The town is not particularly special in a lot of meaningful ways. Nothing really stands out about it in particular. You know that there are rumors of swarms of flies in the village, which are rather unpleasant. And you know that it produces very good hemp, especially in the form of ropes, and duck meat. Those are two delicacies. Its heraldry is a linear heraldry with the colors of yellow and red.
Alrighty. Is anything that town is lacking? Like, do they have a miller and
Like most towns within the barony of Sigurdsvatch, or Sigurdskrift, I should say, it is low in mainly wood. It's just on the edge of the plains where there's a lot of produce. Nearby there is a mill, although the village itself has a mill as well, as almost every village does.
is it on the water?
It is along the river. It's near enough that they can go fishing, should certainly.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Well, that should do it for now. Thanks.
Alright. Now, the next village would be the town of Deckendorf. As for the town of Deckendorf, within the barony of Schreinberg, I believe. No, Urschelberg. Within the barony of Urschelberg, it's another town that is, fortunately, fairly normal. You know that its lord has a favor for strange trinkets, especially foreign ones, exotic goods. You also know that the town is a base of operation for the White Knives, a group of mercenaries. And you know that the town is famous for its snails and its beets. Like many towns within Plains, its main product is produce in the form of various vegetables, in the case of this town, beets especially. And it imports a lot of wood and a lot of stone.
Alright. Thanks.
As for its heraldry, Deckendorf has a green and yellow coloration on its shields, which its militia and men of state wear, like reeves or bailiffs. Do you have any questions?
About this one specifically? Now, is it also on the river?
It is, yes. Uz is the next one.
Yeah, I thought they were all, so.
Hetruz will be beyond the river.
Okay. And it was snails and beets?
Yes. As for the next town, it would be Fetberg, also in the same barony. It is run by the Baron, the Ritter, Andreas Herbert Elmar, who is currently unmarried. He rules from a large and tall castle, which is unusual among Ritter, who usually live in smaller manors or keeps. It's a sign of wealth, I suppose, or perhaps just paranoia. It's an ancient castle, though. He's inherited it. He created himself. So to call him paranoid would be disingenuous. Within the town also is an eccentric wizard by the name of Hermann, who lives in a room in the inn, which you know of, having experience with various wizards through the Markgrafschaft. Its specialty goods are pitch, broad beans, and radishes. Pitch is an interesting case. I remember correctly, this might have to do with the barony. It is not. Although you know that this barony is notorious for its sinkholes that crisscross the landscape.
That's terrifying.
It is a big problem, yeah.
Fields of radishes just disappear.
Yeah.
Fill it with pitch.
It's a serious problem. Do you have any questions for that?
No, I'm good for that.
Okay. Its heraldry is a blue shield with a sort of green, almost bushy tree-like centerpiece. Dark blue, green heraldry is to be expected among the militia of that town. Certainly the lord.
It's a rather large militia.
Most of these towns number 150 to 200 people, of which at most a quarter is men of fighting age, probably more like a fifth or a sixth.
Somehow supports a large castle. This could be an interesting town.
Yeah. This town might be slightly larger. It is on a fairly major trade road to the east, but it would not be.
It's certainly strange.
Yeah, it would not be unusual to assume that the castle is sort of isolated in parts or abandoned in parts.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind that when I say castle, what I mean is a keep, which is like a fortified house, surrounded by walls.
Yeah.
Like a ring of walls
And you
and
said a
towers.
large tower for
Yeah.
this particular.
It is, yeah, it's large and looming. mainly because the outer wall is tight against the keep itself.
The soup stuff.
Yeah, on an outcropping above the town. Yeah, sort of a very gothic looking.
Yeah. No, it's going to be an interesting little place to poke around. All right. I'm good with that one.
Alright, so as for our last, it would be the town of Hectrose, within the same barony of Urshelburg. Its heraldry is a blue lion with white and yellow behind it. This town is known for a large library, which is built into an abandoned tower. This library is owned by a pair of wizards who are presumably, and you probably actually just know it, the people who you are delivering the letter to. Its specialty goods are raspberries, especially a raspberry beer they make, cow yogurt, often mixed with jams, and hard cheeses.
Cattle farmers.
Most villages have cows as well.
Yeah.
There are a handful, just depending on the terrain, which wouldn't. But these have specialty milk products, certainly.
Maybe
Especially
related to the wizards. Maybe they have a technique established.
Perhaps humorously, you remember hearing some stories about this town having trouble with druids recently.
Druids. Got it.
Complaints about druids living in the plains and stealing cattle, stuff like that.
That makes sense.
Have you committed any crimes recently?
No?
Okay, that's good.
Maybe.
You didn't pay for a soup.
Alright, so this is all stuff that your character knows, and we will now go back to the tavern where you are discussing future events.
Right. Basic plan, as much as it exists, is to grab anything from southern pass that runs south out of here and take it north. We're not going to grab a lot in terms of that. We're going to be looking mainly for anything in the exotic trinkets, hopefully for that one town up there with that one leader who's crazy. And we're going to leave with a pretty open cart.
Do you think you can get an audience with this leader you speak of?
If you have crazy trinket, it shouldn't be too tough.
I mean, if you're interested in crazy trinkets, you probably are also interested in wizards, because they can do crazy things as well.
Might be. There are a couple of wizards in those towns that we're running around through, but mainly I want to hook up with the White Knives and talk to them. We're into spring, which means they're probably looking to start selling their services again before summer rolls around, which hopefully means we can either get them re-equipped or understand where they're going and see where the next fights are going to end up.
So basically gather information on what people need so we're better prepared in the future.
Yeah, so we're not going to bring a whole lot this time around.
That
There's a
makes
couple of
a lot
interesting
sense.
ventures up that way, but it would involve changing some of the industries when we finally get to Hertzkurs. So it's not a solid plan right now.
Yes, and I feel like if you're trying to buy goods on one mass, you probably should already have buyers back here in line that would take it off your hands and not take a chance that you might have goods left over.
So in the meantime, yeah, we'll do the hunt and pelts, meats, and all that good stuff and see what we can push off, but we're not going to leave with a full cart out here this time around. Other than that, we might be able to find a couple of people that might want to head north, and we can bring them along, since there are a bunch of people at the city now.
It is dangerous times too. Lots of refugees everywhere, people trying to take advantage of each other more than usual.
Even just the usual amount usually means you can get some money out of taxing around.
You've got your soups at this point.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I forgot about that. I won't lie. You guys are just buying cheap like vegetable soups, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think any of you guys are big spenders.
I just like, no thank you.
Chicken and beef? No? Anybody? So you guys have some potato, carrot, and turnip soup.
And how much soup costs them?
It'd be like 3 coppers each for like a big bowl. It's just soup. You get a loaf of bread too. You can split.
It's been a while since I've had bread.
It's nice. I like bread.
They have changed here?
This one's warm. Yeah.
It's worth asking.
They have changed, yeah. You just read an IOU. You're not a merchant company, so you can't do that.
I can't do that.
You're not a merchant company or a quote-unquote bank as they exist.
One day.
I'd be able to if I was transporting for the kill. I'm not right. So yeah, that leaves us with the rest of the day rather open. I want to check out the southern portion of town. Hopefully with the southern merchants who are actually getting into the city, seeing what they're bringing in, so I can get a better understanding of that. Plus, who knows, we might run into some stuff.
So you're heading south?
Yeah, into the southern part of town.
Alright. Southern part of town, the markets are less non-human, I'll say that. There are less elves with stalls, less gnomes and halflings, and other such folk. Among the goods being hauled in from the south are local goods from the sort of hills in that region, which include things like goat and sheep meat, a lot of sort of grain and vegetables, like there are. Wood is a big thing hauled in from the south, generally, and along with those more sort of standardish items of sort of relief food, wood, and the like, heavily taxed wool textiles from the south, who have their own luxury textile trade, just like Seagood's Gruft does. There are wines from the very south, sort of dwarven crafted items, mostly fine leather or metalwork. Olive oils, which are, again, luxury items. And even more luxurious and exotic are spices and silks and other such luxury items from the land to the south.
Very far south.
Very far south, beyond the Dwarven Mountains.
Jeez, it's a bigger bolt than I thought.
Seems like the fancy side of town. Are you sure what we're looking for is around here?
Having lived in Seagood's Gruft your entire life, Klaus, you realize that this is more goods from the south, including but just the south in general, than have gone through this town before in a spring festival. Almost 2 or 3 times as much.
Yeah, not sure why. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a couple of interesting things that means, especially the wood and metals. Mainly it means I probably am going to try and pick up basic farmer's tools, since everyone out north plays does their own, well, it's plains. It's just fields and fields. So,
Seagood's Gruft as a barony is sort of in the mountains that border Veerland,
yeah.
the borderlands, and it has extensive mines throughout those hills, and so lots of metal goods are fairly cheap here. The metal goods I mentioned as part of that description are worked, finished goods of dwarven craftsmanship, which are sort of luxury items. Not really the kind of thing a peasant would necessarily buy, but sort of a lot of weapons and armor that a ritter might, noble person, find like belt buckles and jewelry. You can still buy it, it's just very expensive. You might not be able to afford it.
No, it sucks. It's just like we're heading north into peasant fields, right? So you have to sell peasants.
Well, peasants have noble people leading them, but yeah.
Yeah, and there's enough money to really sell anything to a noble.
Well, I feel like, again, the plan you had before, the best one was to get baubles, and like you go to elves and things like that and see if they have any weird stuff that they've made.
There are definitely lots and lots of carts in this town selling little dolls and toys and glass jewelry.
Yeah, baubles are easy. Yeah, I guess we could do some bauble shopping.
Sure. Yeah, this is going to be a sort of general purchase by like pound, probably. And I will judge how in demand certain things are. In this town, sort of general trinkets like jewelry or sort of textile, stuff like that, are very cheap. It's a very flooded market. I'll say that. So let me just flip to the equipment section here.
It's also possible to trade too. Like if you're going to a peasant's, they may not necessarily have money, but if they have excess beads, okay, here's some baubles.
Yeah. Take your radishes, go 2 towns up,
Here's
turn
your
it into
glass
vodka,
beads.
come back.
These trinkets are cheap to the point where it's almost difficult to buy them. If you're buying individual ones, you're starting to talk about using like wooden coins or cutting copper pieces up to buy them because of how low in value they are.
Give me a pouch of 6 pounds of bauble.
6 pounds of baubles will only cost you about probably 5 copper pieces, especially if you haggled,
Oh boy.
which I assume you are.
Yeah. Do that twice.
So you've got 12 pounds of baubles for 10 copper pieces or a silver piece.
Yeah.
Are you getting those from one merchant, or are you going through?
I'd shop around if you want to do that.
I'm just thinking if I can put another encounter in here.
Probably.
Alright, I will look one up.
So, I mean, the other point of doing this is to get the gossip on the southern trade routes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the merchants are talking about, especially considering there's so much coming through this year, which means a change.
You're definitely overhearing conversations about people asking about that exact same thing. And it seems like the answer would be that because the river has been blocked by the Sack of Holenhof, which has a chain that can be raised and lowered, as well the fact that the Northern Frontier is destabilized with the coming of this Wizards Association, Wizard Council, means that people aren't comfortable trying to ship goods down the river.
The main artery. Which
Yeah.
means the land arteries are opening up. That's fine.
This is still nowhere near the amount of merchants who would normally go upriver. It seems like a couple of eager young merchants are trying to make a name for themselves by risking skirting the borderlands.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
No, that's very interesting.
Your discussion is interrupted quite suddenly by a large man wearing a sort of tartan robe harnessed around himself with a thick belt being thrown out the window of a nearby tavern and crashing into the crowded street. He quite calmly picks himself up, dusts himself off, draws a foot-long dagger from his belt, and rushes back into the tavern. He's a large man, broad of shoulders, thick of neck. He's not armored and dressed in strange patterned clothing that you've seen only on a certain duck. He has a curly beard and curly hair, both of which are long. You can hear the sounds of
Let's
fights
see what the
breaking
fight's
out
all
from
about.
inside the tavern. Yeah.
Maybe it would be best for you to go in first and call if you need help. Guards might seem a little bit edgy if they saw a duck man and an elf in there and might blame us first. So we'll just wait outside.
You
call
can
if
you
need
can
help.
hear the guards being called and rushing through the crowd towards this commotion.
Anything gets too close, just wave that thing and veers around. I'm going to step inside. I'm more interested in what caused the fight than the actual fight.
As you step inside, you see another man dressed in sort of red with green sleeves, sort of padded armor, a gambizon, and yellow arming pants, knocking a farmer flat with a punch to the jaw, and then pushing another one off of him to turn towards the man who is screaming and running towards the group, this fight, with his dagger in the air. In a heavy accent, he goes, "No, stop!" And that is to say, the guy in the armor, the padded armor, and jumps towards the hulking, screaming warrior and starts trying to wrestle him to the ground.
Oh, darn.
He's like talking to him, but it's hard to hear it with all the commotion.
So I'm assuming, a couple of things have been broken, some stuff's been spilled on the ground and everything like that.
That is a fairly correct assumption. There are certainly drinks and plates scattered across the ground. Stools are lying. One of them has been smashed. As you have pushed in, many people are standing up and trying to get out, causing a bit of a confusion, or at least clearing towards the sides of the room.
Can I get close enough to grab that farmer who just got punched and pull him out of the fray?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Is he conscious?
He's not. The other one who is sort of yelling curses at the two of them as a crowd gathers around these two men who are sort of wrestling with each other.
Is the knife being used effectively?
No, fortunately the man in the gambizon has managed to get his hand around the other large warrior's wrist, whose face is growing more and more red. There are insults being hurled by the other farmer who was in a fistfight with a gambizon-clad warrior, who is long of hair, sort of long reddish hair, and blue-eyed.
Let's grab the nearest person and figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah, most of the insults are revolving around the man's heritage. It seems like the one in the gambizon is from the Nordenwald across the border, and is being blamed for pretty much all of the misfortune of the Landsneer in the past couple years, including the sacking of Polenhof.
How's this fight going currently?
It's actually calming down. The larger man is sort of stopping his struggling as the other one is like holding him tightly. It seems almost like they've done this before a couple of times. And as you watch it cool down, the guards finally manage to push into the room through the farmers towards them and ask what the heck's going on.
I am interested in how that proceeding goes.
The man wrestling tries to look up and tell the guards, it's nothing. Just a little accident. And the farmer says, what? This man tried to kill me. He knocked my friend unconscious. And it seems the man without the foreign enemy accent is the one who manages to convince the guards. For they begin hauling the two off their feet and shackling them. Or disturbing the peace, they claim.
And both are let out.
Sure, unless you want to try and stop the guards.
I have no reason to do that. That would be dumb.
It would be.
No, I'm going to ignore that and just tend to the farmer who got punched here for a second. Who's probably
He's waking up now.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's dazed. I mean, he's not fine. He's missing some teeth.
Give him the solid advice of stay away from the ones with the big fans. And then make sure he's got his friend while he's all taken care of before making
He definitely drowsily thanks you. And the farmer makes a comment about how they shouldn't let savages across the border.
Then make my way back out to both of you.
We're probably hiding in an alley, kind of waiting for the commotion to settle.
Look around for a while then.
From your hiding place, you heard the guards say that they would be in the stocks for a week for that. Although whether that's the actual sentence they get or not, it's questionable.
Are there judges in your setting?
Yep.
Or is it like just a lawmaster, sort of like a...
It depends on where you are, but there are people who act as judge, and there are also people whose jobs it is to litigate.
So there is like an actual due process?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a frontier region. In a smaller town, the Lord's word is pretty much law.
Yeah.
But in an urban situation, it becomes more murky. Certain settlements are run by councils of citizens or burghers with mayors who can have appointed sort of judges to discuss how cases should go.
Okay.
Alright, so do you guys come out to me, or are you going to hide in that alley?
We'll probably come out when we see you.
Okay. I'll give you both the same statement of just, tensions are a little high in the city right now. Mainly against, that particular instance was against Northerners, but since neither of you are human, keep a low profile if possible.
I'll let you know tensions are high across the land right now. Villages filled with refugees, people are scared. It's definitely a regional problem.
Other than that, I can't think of too much else I need to do today. We're going to set off in the morning. Just a couple of baubles, we'll hunt along the road type of deal.
I'd probably break off from the group at some point to go and wander the markets and probably pick up some food. I don't know if like dried vegetables might be a thing or dried fruit.
Dried fruit is definitely a thing. Vegetables can be dried as well, although usually they keep it a little better. It depends on the vegetable, I guess.
So I'd probably pick up some of that for rations.
Sure. You want to just buy a ration? You getting dried fruit? Dried fruit's sort of like a candy, so it might be a little bit more expensive, but it shouldn't be that bad. You can get apples, certainly. Oranges are a bit rarer up here because you're a bit too north.
Then that what? Hard bread, jerky, cheese?
Yeah, that would be the
Nuts,
standard rations
type of
in this
deal.
kind of region, yeah. As well as onions or garlic or things
Fruit,
like
vegetables.
carrots, yeah.
Your typical ration.
So a ration's of 5 silver pieces for a day, if you want to buy as many of those as you can afford.
5 silver pieces.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Wow. Okay, so I'll probably buy 3 days worth.
Sure.
It's valuable being someone who can live off the
I do
land.
not have rations. You ate them on your trip.
Yeah.
I offered him grubs and he's like,
No, that wiggles a little too much for my stomach.
I can kill it before you eat it.
Yeah. You can cook it.
Okay.
We didn't have much time for foraging, unfortunately.
I'm quite good at foraging.
You're
Yes.
making your way through the market, trying to find the best price for these rations that you're buying, when you notice a strange creature jump from one of the rooftops towards you. It looks almost like a man, though hunched, and much smaller. It's maybe a foot long, with a long, furry tail. And it jumps in front of you and chitters and starts trying to climb your pants towards your carrying sack.
So can I make some type of check to see what this creature is?
You have animal lore?
Nope.
You don't?
Nope.
You aren't trained in knowledge of animals, then. What non-weapon proficiencies do you have?
I have direction sense,
Okay.
tracking, herbalism, fletchery, and agriculture.
Yeah, none of those would help you to identify this animal. I will tell you that it is not a normal animal for this region, so you don't know it from living here your whole life.
So I'd probably try to shake it off then and make a bit of a scamper away or
Do you
try
want to do
to...
a post-grapple check against this creature that's trying to climb on you?
So that would be strength?
Yes, it would be. Or you could do acrobatics, I suppose.
So athletics or acrobatics?
Yes, athletics or acrobatics would be your two choices.
So I don't have either of those skills.
You would either make a strength saving throw or a dexterity saving throw.
So I don't have either of those saving throws checked.
It just means you don't add for your perch.
You aren't proficient in them,
Gotcha.
which means you'd use pure strength or pure dexterity.
So I will
just roll a
use,
d20.
Pure dexterity then.
Okay.
So I got 22.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It's a natural 20, just in case I'm curious.
Yeah. That does not matter in the case of skill checks.
Okay,
But
let's
if
say it's...
the 22 is good. This creature got a 19. Its dexterity is probably going to tie with you. So it tries to climb up further, but you're shaking your leg and kicking. The crowd have gone from being shocked and trying to avoid it to outright screaming and running away from you as you sort of wrestle with this creature on the ground.
Thanks for the help, everybody.
Yeah. They don't want to get involved with it, seem.
So it's still clinging on to me then.
Desperately, yeah, and like chittering and squeaking at you in some weird language, maybe.
But the crowd has mostly fled?
They've like formed a ring around you. There are now people like coming and like looking at you as you shake. This is all taking place very quickly. Keep in mind.
Yes.
They have time to move away a foot, maybe, or two.
So I might use my flint hand axe with it. Probably the side. No, not the pointy side.
The butt of
The
it?
blunt side.
So you draw your hand axe and you're gonna smack it with like the pommel or just the flat of the.
Yeah, the flat.
It is still a rock.
Mhm.
Okay.
So trying to aim for the body because I'm not trying to
So
kill
you're-
it, but
yeah.
trying to.
So do an attack roll against it. You're gonna try to club it with your stone.
So that's a 2, but I do have proficiency in that.
It's
and
not good. It's not good.
dexterity,
It's not
so that's like a
Don't-
6.
don't
The
even
creature
worry.
leaps off of your leg through the crowd towards a nearby wall, and you hear a man calling from down. Grab that monkey!
Yes, of course. Grabbing that monkey. It seems to have gotten away, unfortunately.
He's in the crowd far away, but he eventually does huff and puff his way towards you. He's a young man dressed in a blue pourpoint sort of coat, dark blue, with hose that are striped white and lighter blue. He has some fine, high brown leather boots on, and his long blonde hair is pulled back from sort of French braid. He's got large sort of mutton chops of blonde hair as well. And he grabs hold of your clothes and asks, "Where did the monkey go?"
I'll point in the direction. What is that thing?
And he just pushes you off and like chases after it down the street, calling for people to grab it.
I'm gonna...
He has a loop slung across his back and a rapier on his side.
I am kind of intrigued by this.
Hmm.
I'm gonna give chase as well.
All right.
After this monkey.
Yeah, the two of you try and push your way through the crowd. You following after him. He doesn't notice that you're following him. And the two of you end up walking straight into the side of a building. And he just looks up and puts his hands in his head and groans as you see the tail of the monkey slip up over the top of this 2-story building.
So, for casting Speak with Animals,
Mhm.
is that... What kind of reaction would I get? Or do I know what kind of reaction I'd get if I cast that in a town?
You don't know what a monkey is.
So, in general, magic is viewed with incredible suspicion.
Okay.
People don't cast magic unless they're up to something they should be doing generally. As a person who is not a sort of sanctioned wizard, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Sort of an illegal act, essentially. You also know that there are many rumors among humans of the sort of magic tricks that elves play on people, little pranks or outright viciousness, which could certainly scare people and might even land you jail time.
So, Speak with Animals isn't a very visual spell, is it?
What are the components for it? Somatic and verbal, I believe.
I believe.
Which would mean that you are doing hand movements and gestures and chanting a spell quickly within 6 seconds or so, but still easily identifiable as a spell, or at least as erratic and irrational behavior by the common person.
Mm-hmm. So if I were to move around the corner and try to put a little distance between myself and the crowds, would I be able to kind of find
You
a
could
moment?
Find an alleyway, and there might be less people in it, certainly. It would be less crowded than the main streets.
And then when I'm speaking with this animal, Am I speaking a common Landesneer, or is it, am I speaking in their language?
You would be speaking the animal's tongue to everyone watching.
Yes, so that definitely is not a good idea.
You would be chittering and hooting and howling like the creature.
Yes.
Question
Yes.
was at you a moment ago as you tried to club it.
So, yeah, that definitely is not the kind of attention I want to draw.
Mhm.
So I might say to the man, what kind of creature is that?
He jumps as you say that and turns around and says, "What? So that's my pet monkey. I bought it from Ak. You followed me?"
Yes, it intrigues me. It tried to jump on me, though.
Would you like to buy him?
No.
1 copper piece.
1 copper piece, eh?
Yeah.
That's quite the deal.
Well, I think he's gone. So, yeah.
I'm gonna try calling up to the monkey. What's his name?
His name?
Yes.
Tulip.
Tulip, I shout.
No, don't think so.
No? Okay. Well, I'm afraid I won't take you up on that offer at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't think so. And he tries to turn the corner towards one of the alleyways, and he waves you goodbye.
Okay. I'm gonna peer around the top of the house, see if I can see the monkey.
It's a
inside
2-story
of it.
house, so you can't reach the top of it. It's about 10 feet above you.
Yeah, that is looking like the monkey's gonna be staying up there. Actually, I have a bit of food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to coax it down, calling Tulip and kind of waving some of my, maybe some of my apple.
Yeah. The crowd of people sort of, as it flows, parts around you as you call up, or sort of just to the side of you because you're right next to a building.
Yeah.
As you call up and wave bits of your rations towards the roof of the building. And you do that for a time. I don't know how long you would do that for, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
And the creature does not materialize to your calling.
Yeah. I'm afraid this is not the kind of situation where I'm going to be able to get that monkey.
A child does ask you if you lost a bird.
No, it was a different creature, actually.
They seem kind of excited by that, but their parents quickly pull them away.
Yeah, so I'll go back to doing my business about the shops, but I will keep an eye out, kind of looking back to that roof every so often to see if I see some movement.
I got one thing I forgot that might be an option. Did you stick around?
Actually, I probably headed back to the stables, and I'm just probably cleaning them. It's very comforting and sort of
Reminiscent of what you used to
of
do?
what I was my previous life.
In that case, I suggest we take a break, and when we're done, we will get back to what you two guys are doing.
Sure.
Sure.